Sample packs or vinyl records? Is this even a question, like, really in 2024? Well, of course it is, because there's new producers coming out every single day, like every year. So there will always be like this battle or this question of, should I use sample packs? Should I use vinyl records? You know, which one's better? So in today's video, I'm gonna cover 3 topics, 3 points of information that should help break this petty little debate that we have about this. Let's get into the video, y'all. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. It's me, they call me Heat. I'm a music producer, audio engineer, and content creator. And on my channel here, I show producers how to make some of the best boom bap, hip hop style beats. As music producers, we try to find like the most creative ways to make music. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that we can do to create beats. We can sample from vinyl records. We can download a sample pack from the internet. I feel like either way that you do it, it doesn't matter as long as the end result means that it sounds good. But like I said, there's always gonna be the debate of like, oh, sample packs are better because of sample clearances with vinyl, or vinyl is better just because of the sound and, you know, it just sounds more authentic. And while both sides have truth to them, I still want to cover 3 points of the differences between sample packs and vinyl records, the pros and cons between them, you know, the price difference between the two, and how, you know, it can help your pockets as a music producer, because I know a lot of producers come out, new producers coming out all the time. They don't just have money to just go out and just spend to just have a plethora of samples. Music producers, are you struggling with making better beats? You make a beat and it's just stuck in the loop and you just don't know what to do? Listen, head over to BoomBapUniversity.com to grab up the Cooking That Boom Bap Masterclass. In this course, I'm showing you literally how to chop samples, how to make better drum patterns, how to get those drums to knock, because I'm teaching you how to mix too. And like I said, I'm going to teach you how to arrange that beat from that loop or that 8-bar loop that you have, turn it into a full beat so that you can give it to someone so they can rap on it, they can sing on it, or you want to put it on a beat tape. Either way, I'm going to show you exactly the full process on how I make my beats, how I find samples, how I make my drums knock in 1 2-hour course. Cooking That Boom Bap Masterclass. Head over to BoomBapUniversity.com and pick up that course. Let's get back into the video. Now, the first point that I want to touch on is pretty obvious. It's really the difference between sample packs and vinyl records. Let's start with vinyl records. As you can see on the wall behind me, I have vinyl on my wall. That means that I also too do buy and collect vinyl records. On the wall, those are just some of my favorite records that I like. Whether I've sampled them or not, it's just some of the vinyl that I really, really love. The most obvious difference between a sample pack and a vinyl record is that you have to have the record itself. You need a record player to play a record, a vinyl record. Since you're gonna have a vinyl record and you need a vinyl player, guess what? That means space. You're gonna take up space in your studio. So if you're someone who wants to have a very minimal setup, very minimal studio, you might not like having all these vinyl records around and things like that. With a sample pack, you just need to have a hard drive big enough to store the WAV files or the MP3 files that a sample pack has. Now, another clear difference is that obviously, you know, with sample packs nowadays, people sell sample packs and they put previews to the sample pack. So you can go to a producer grind, you can go to BoomBapUniversity.com, you can go to any other, you know, place that sells sample packs or has different things like that. And, you know, you can actually listen to the pack or the samples that you're about to purchase. Versus a vinyl record, if you go to, let's say, the thrift shop, the VOA, something like that, where they may not have a record player, so you're kind of buying these records on a hope that a sample is going to be there. Although you may not be able to always listen to the vinyl record itself, the beauty in taking that record home and listening to it and then maybe finding something, that's amazing. But then taking it home and not having something on there, yeah, you may have lost $1, $2. At the end of the day, as your ear develops, you may hear something on that record that may sound different later on. So it may be 5 years down the line, it may be 2 years down the line, it may be 6 months down the line. who knows? You still have that vinyl record to go back to it, so it's not really a waste, because you may find something on there that you didn't hear before the first time you listen to it. With sample packs, of course, I mean, with vinyl as well, you can skip through, you know, the sample packs. So like, let's say if you have a sample that you loaded in, you can actually skip through that sample. So you can find the different places of the sample that you want to, you know, chop up or use. But with vinyl, you can skip through the songs, you can skip through the different parts and things like that. But again, you have to have that record player. Now, another clear difference obviously is that, you know, when you have a sample pack and you have a vinyl, let's say you do place that record, you can't necessarily hit up the publisher from a vinyl record as quick as you can another producer. So those are things that, you know, just are differences that when it comes to a sample pack and, you know, vinyl. And these are very obvious, you know, differences. I'll start with sample packs. What are the pros and cons of sample packs? So I'll start with the pros. Of course, the pros are that very obvious for me because I support producers. I love, you know, the support that we have in our community, and I love when producers support each other. So when you buy a sample pack from another producer, you're supporting that producer. You're helping that producer in some way. You may not make sample packs yourself, or you may make sample packs and you may still buy sample packs from other producers. There's a level of support that's there whenever you do that. So that's an obvious pro for me, is that you can actually support the producers that you're actually, you know, buying the sample packs from. Another pro is, depending on where you're getting these sample packs from and who you're going through, there's so many companies out there that make samples now. So sometimes you may not have the same sample as someone else. So I'd say that that's a pretty good pro. As long as you go through people who, I won't say are just so popular or anything like that, but just people who are kind of under the radar, you're always going to find samples or get samples that the community just doesn't have. They're always looking for them. And because there's always new producers and new sample makers coming up, I kind of feel like it's getting to the point to where no one will have the same samples. We won't have that issue because there's so many different outlets and places that you can go to that won't have the same thing. Another pro, obviously I did speak about this in the differences between the sample packs and the vinyl, but you don't need a turntable. You could just go to your computer, listen, get right to work, and not have to worry about hooking the turntable up to the, you know, the computer, the interface, whatever, and getting your audio into the computer. Guess what? Right into your DAW, open up any sample pack that you want, and get to work. It's that easy. Now let's talk about some of the cons when it comes to sample packs. Some of the cons are, and I think I wouldn't call this a contradiction of my words, but the con is that sometimes you might have samples that other people have used. As unfortunate as that is, it's okay though, because we all have a different ear. So we're not gonna make the same beat out of the sample. We may loop it the same way, we may chop it the same way, but things are gonna sound totally different. So yes, although I did say that a lot of people won't have the same samples, sometimes when you're using companies like Splice, when you're using companies like Sounds by Native Instruments, like there's different companies that a lot of producers use, and a lot of sounds are recycled because a lot of producers have that particular plugin or access to, you know, these plethora of sounds. So even with like a plugin like Arcade, you may hear a lot of producers using the same sounds from Arcade because we're all using the same sound engine. Now, one last con that I'm gonna talk about for the sample packs is that just the sound in general. We're making sample packs, we're making loops, we're making these ideas for producers to chop up using their own production, but we lose the integrity of the sound, right? And what I'm saying, what I mean by that is, if you're a vinyl head and you go try out sample packs, you're gonna feel like, wow, there's a big difference in the sound. Because the way that vinyl was made, the way that things were recorded at that time, a lot of producers don't have access to those pieces of equipment. That may be the mics they were using, that may be the mixer they were using, that may be the preamps they were using. Some of us don't have access to these vintage pieces of equipment, so the sound lacks that warmth, it lacks that, just that fullness that it needs, that body, you know? Now, of course, there are a lot of plug-in emulations that producers use and things like that, but again, we're using digital. It's still digital regardless of what plugins you use to mask or try to make it sound like whatever vintage gear that you're, you know, insert any vintage gear there, you know? Essentially with plugins, the engine isn't the same, the things are tweaked and EQ'd a certain way within the plugin to make us think that things sound a certain type of way, when really in reality they are just what they are. It's just a digital audio. That's it. When it comes to vinyl, everything was mechanical. Everything was very out of the box, not in a computer. Everything was, you had it all across the table. You had mixers, you had certain mics, you had preamps that you had to use and things like that. So the sound was a little bit different coming from those pieces of gear. So one last thing that I want to talk about with the differences between like sample packs and vinyl packs, or sample packs and vinyl records, sorry, is the price. Like the price between both of them is vastly different. With a sample pack, I would say the average price of a sample pack nowadays is like $30. You may see some producers selling big, just overloaded packs for 50. It's worth it because you're getting a lot of stuff, right? Sample packs, when you're only getting samples, you got about 10 samples, $30. Cool. You know why? Because you're supporting the other producer. So if they want 25, if they want 20, if they want 30, if they want 50, pay it. You know why? Because you guys are going to split that, you guys are going to get paid, and everything's going to be cool. Sample packs are, like I said, usually around $30. I will say that's the average amount for a sample pack. For a vinyl record, depending on what you go for, you can go to a thrift shop, you can go to a pawn shop, you can go to an actual record store who sells vinyl, and sometimes they'll have a dollar bin. So all of the records in there are $1, meaning that each record you buy is $1, 4 quarters, 10 dimes, whatever you want to call it, but it's $1. And a lot of the records in my collection that I've bought, yeah, I've bought them out of the dollar bin. Even some of the really good ones that are on my wall, I've gotten them out the dollar bin. The value of records is down as far as, them being sold in the store, unless you're a collector. So if you're going for stuff that's collectible or a collector's item, or just something that wasn't, printed as much as others, sometimes those can cost you a pretty penny, $50, $100, $200, $600. They can get expensive because it's a collector's item. So those vinyls can get very expensive. When it comes to sample packs though, again, you're gonna have just that average price of $30, and then like I said, if you post something, if you sell something, if you get a placement, then you hit that producer up. Hey, I use your sample pack, or I use your sample from your sample pack. What do you want to do? Again, some of them may say 50-50. Hopefully you don't get those snaky ones that want more than what they're supposed to get, but majority of the time it will be a 50-50, and I'm okay with that. Because why? You made the melody for me, you helped create the melodic element of it. I then came back and made the drum element of it. So I wouldn't be too worried about sample packs being $30, $40, $50, $20, $25, because it's worth it. You're splitting it with someone who actually is in a part of your community, someone who actually took time and created that, and actually wants and actually understands the game that we're in now. When you go to sample vinyl, they don't understand. So they'll want, let's say you paid $5 for the record. Now they want 100% of your publishing because they don't understand the game of sampling, or don't care about sampling. Now, again, the reason that there is that big gap in pricing from $1 record to a $30 sample pack is just because, again, those records have lost their value. Vinyl has lost its value, not to me personally, but just in the world that we live in. Vinyl, CD, tape, they have lost their value for the everyday consumer. But for us people who actually appreciate the, cassettes, vinyl, CD, things like that, we know what it's about. We know where it came from. We appreciate it. For us, we're okay with spending a little extra sometimes if we're trying to get something that's a collector's item or something like that. When it comes to a sample pack, again, don't argue with the producer. You know what I'm saying? Because literally you're getting quality, you're getting value, they're helping you. It's technically like a collaboration essentially. But with vinyl, they don't want to collab. They don't care about you. Those publishers, they don't care. Especially when it comes to hip hop. So let me ask everybody this question, and you can leave the comment, your thoughts in the comment box below. What do you prefer, sample packs or vinyl? or both. I mean, I'm a both person, so I'm letting you know now, like both for me. I don't complain about sample packs and I don't complain about vinyl. Lately, I've been using a lot more sample packs than I have vinyl. I don't really sample from vinyl itself anymore. I go get it off the internet because pretty much everybody is recording the songs, uploading it to YouTube, putting it somewhere on a blog or somewhere, and you can find records all day online. So for me personally, I don't need all of the vinyl records and turntable and all of that, although I like putting a record on, you know, a turntable and then getting to work. But again, like I said, I don't really necessarily need that. But let me know which one helps your workflow, which one, you know, you like to work with more or best. All right. If you liked the video today, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well and turn on those notifications for real. Turn them on all. That way you don't miss any more content from me in the future. Okay. If you're looking to learn more from me, if you are looking to get a bit more personal with me and you want me to help you make beats, build your brand, you know, become just an all-around better producer, join the Boom Bap Collective community over on Patreon, patreon.com/TheyCallMeHeat. I've built the ultimate resource hub for music producers. So courses, workshops, giveaways, beat battles, all of these things are over there. All right. So head over there right now, hit the link below in the description, or just go to patreon.com/TheyCallMeHeat. Thank you for watching again. Until next time, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm out of here. Peace, y'all. Go create, baby.